Wagwan people, we're gonna back at it again with another video. To everyone who's watched the first two videos, thank you so very much. Thank you very much. Every view, every like, every comment, every time you share the video with a friend, that is very much appreciated, because it doesn't matter how much hard work I put into this. It doesn't matter how good I make my videos. If you guys don't support the ting, then the ting will never amount to anything of significance. So yeah, thank you for your support up to this point, and please keep it up. Now I want to give a shout out to my dad and my brother, because my brother had the idea of getting me this USB desktop microphone, and my dad paid for it. So yeah, thank you very much, Papa. Thank you very much, Kavang. Your contribution to this channel is very much appreciated. Now, moving on to the topic of today's video. The topic of today's video is 7 things that Graham Potter needs to do in order to save his job. Currently, Chelsea are sitting 10th in the Premier League table, and 10th position in the Premier League table for a club that has the same stature and prestige as Chelsea is absolutely appalling. It is absolutely appalling. Some would say, right, that is haram, right, for a club the size of Chelsea to be 10th. It's not right, you know. And as such, fans are unhappy, and that's very understandable. Now, over time, this kind of discontentment with our competitive position will turn into people calling for the manager's head, right? Now, before that happens, I wanted to make a video outlining 7 things that I believe Graham Potter needs to do in order to save his job at Chelsea Football Club. The first thing that Potter needs to do to save his job at Chelsea Football Club is to teach these players how to play forward passes as opposed to passes backwards or to the side, right? Graham Potter needs to drill it into the players' heads that this is not rugby, right? You are allowed to play a forward pass. You don't have to pass the ball sideways only or backwards only. You are allowed to play a forward pass, right? And now you might think, oh, obviously the footballers would know that they're allowed to play forward passes. But if you watch Chelsea Football Club in detail, week in, week out, then the conclusion you'll come to is that these players have been told that they are not allowed to pass the ball forward. And the reason I say that is because there'll be a situation where Chelsea have the ball, we're on the counter attack, right? It's looking really good. What we need is for the person in possession to play a nice through pass to his teammate that's running in on goal, right? And you expect this through pass, you'll expect it, thinking to yourself, he should pass now, but he won't pass. Well, he won't pass it forward anyways. He's going to hold on to the ball, then he's going to pass it sideways, or he's going to pass it backwards. That's what we consistently do. Or that's what this team consistently does, right? And it really needs to be fixed and addressed. Potter needs to drill it into their heads as much as he can that when the opportunity presents itself, right, play the forward pass. Play the forward pass. Obviously, if the pass is not on, don't play it. Fine. But if the pass is on, play the forward pass rather than the back pass, you know? So, yeah. And I've seen this problem more with certain players like Kai Havertz sometimes, Mason Mount sometimes. But to be honest, it is a general team problem. It's not just them. So, yeah, that's what he needs to fix up on, first of all. Second of all, he needs to drop Kai Havertz and Mason Mount. Now, the reason I'm saying he needs to drop them is because one of two things will happen with Kai and Mason, right? Number one, they will perform inconsistently. So 1 week they will ball out like superstars, and the other week they will perform very badly, right? That's scenario 1. Scenario 2 is they just underperform altogether, right? However, the common trend is that no matter what they do, whether they're being inconsistent or underperforming altogether, they continuously start time and time again, right? So that needs to be addressed. It cannot continue any longer, in my opinion, because that sends a message to the rest of the team that it doesn't matter how bad these guys play. It doesn't matter how well the rest of the team trains during the week, how well they perform in training. Mason and Kai will always start, you know. So yeah, I understand that they're very talented players, and I can see that they work hard for the team, right? However, if they are underperforming, they need to be dropped immediately, right? In terms of the striker option, Kai Havertz is not a natural striker, right? First of all. And also, if he's not performing in that role, drop him and play David Datro Fofana, right? I know he's only 20, 21 years old, but the thing is, Potter doesn't fancy Aubameyang, right? He doesn't, right? And he doesn't have the services of Armando Broja because my man is injured at the moment, in it. So all he can do is play David Datro Fofana up front and hope for the best. You get me? So yeah, that's what he needs to do in that situation. In terms of Mason Mount, if Mason is not performing, let's give a chance to somebody else, like Kani Chukwu Emeka. You know what I'm saying? Give him a chance to show what he's got. Maybe even Lewis Hall. The only problem with Lewis Hall is that he gives the ball away a bit too much, but in terms of his offensive ability, very, very good. So yeah, if these players are not performing, drop them immediately and get somebody else into the team who can do their job well. Then the third thing that Potter needs to do, in my opinion, is he needs to get all the players to do at least an hour extra practice, but the hour of extra practice should be dedicated solely to finishing. And the reason I say there needs to be one extra hour per week of extra finishing practice is that the finishing at Chelsea Football Club has not been good enough for a very long time now. And it's cost us in quite a few occasions. The 2020 FA Cup final against Arsenal cost us. The 2021 FA Cup final against Leicester, it cost us. The 2022 FA Cup final against Liverpool, it cost us. The 2022 Carabao Cup final against Liverpool, it cost us again, you know. So we need to improve the finishing, right? Or we will continue to suffer, right? And we will continue to walk through the valley of the shadow of winlessness. You get me? Because at the end of the day, football is about winning. And in order to win, you need to score more goals than your opponent. So if we do not improve our finishing and it continues to be whack and dysfunctional, best believe the fans will continue to walk through the valley of the shadow of winlessness. And that's not fun for me. It's not fun for anybody else. So Potter needs to fix up on that. Then the fourth thing that Potter needs to do is he needs to train the players to be able to play defense splitting passes, right? And when I say defense splitting passes, what I mean is what I want to see going forward is a team that's playing Chelsea, right? And they're being very defensive, right? They're sitting back, they're being compact, they're not leaving any spaces to run in behind or anything like that, right? I want to see a team playing like that against us, but Chelsea still being able to find a pass, right, to an offensive player that puts them in a position where they're gonna score or they should score. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, Potter needs to work on that. He needs to work on getting the players to play defense splitting passes in the same way that Moses parted the Red Sea when the Israelites were fleeing Egypt. If I could see that kind of improvement in the next few weeks, next few months, whatever, right, that would make me happy. That would make me quite happy. So we've done 4 things now, right? The fifth thing, right, very important, right? The fifth thing is to get all the corner takers to do more practice in relation to taking corners. And the reason I say this is because what you'll find is the team will work itself into a good position in terms of being very close to the opposition's goal, right? Then we'll win a corner, cool. But then when it's time to take the corner, the center backs don't really have a chance to attack the ball because the delivery is so whack, right? It's of such a low standard that the ball doesn't beat the first man, or my man takes the corner kick and then it goes out of play, then back into play, and obviously then that's just a goal kick for the position, a chance for them to reset, a chance for them to just breathe a little bit with less pressure on them for the time being. You get me? So we need to improve the the quality of deliveries from corner kicks. And if we can do that, I think we will benefit greatly, because Benoit Badiashile, our new signing, is extremely good in the air. What I've seen from him so far is prowess, physical prowess in the air, offensively as well as defensively. So yeah, if we can just get better deliveries into the box, then we could generate a few more goals, through Badiashile and also Thiago Silva, as well as other players who are attacking the ball at that specific time. Then Potter also needs to make sure that every single player in the dressing room understands that if they do not perform week in, week out, they will be left on the bench. He needs to get them to understand that if they don't perform for a prolonged period of time, right, they're going to train just like everybody else during the week. But then at the weekend, when it's time for the game and everyone's getting on the bus and everything there, this player will be left at home, because they will be left, they will be excluded from the matchday squad, right? And furthermore, right, he needs to make the players understand that if they cannot perform to the level that is expected of them at a club with the stature and prestige of Chelsea, that we will get somebody else in who can do a better job than them, and we will dispose of them. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, and that type of mentality is the reason why the women's team is so successful. Emma Hayes has them doing so well, right, whether domestically or in Europe, because the women's team is consistently doing well in the Premier League. Right now, they're top of the table, right? They won the league last season and the season before that, right? And they might have won it even the season before that as well, right? I'm not too sure, right? But FA Cups, right, they specialize in winning those. Continental Cups, right, which is basically the League Cup equivalent for women's football, they win those as well, right? The Champions League, they have never won it, right, but they put in good performances. And in order for the men's team to do the same kind of thing, right, the mentality that was once at the club, which needs to be brought back, is if you do not perform, right, you will be disposed of and somebody better will come and do your job. You get? So yeah. Then another thing, I think, yeah, this is the seventh thing now. Potter needs to allow the players to play with some instinct, instead of things being in such a rigid system, right? Now, what Chelsea fans will complain about at the moment is they'll say, oh, I'm not seeing a particular style of play, right? And I understand that, but I think that having a definitive style of play can be dangerous. The reason I say it can be dangerous is because if you train your players to play counter-attacking football, right? But then they come up against an opposition that counteracts this by sitting back, right? Being very defensive and being very compact and not leaving spaces to run in behind. What do you do then? Because now your game plan is neutralized, So having one definitive style of play is very much, I think it can be detrimental, because if somebody counteracts your game plan, now what? So I think the players should be able to play with instinct, and I think that playing with instinct is how the players will be able to deliver moments of brilliance, as opposed to them having their natural way of playing and then being told that they need to play in a particular system. They need to play according to particular patterns and all them thing there. So those are my thoughts on things that Graham Potter needs to do in order to keep his job. If you have any suggestions, put them in the comments below. And yeah. Oh wait, one more thing that he needs to do, right, in order to keep his job. He's got signings now from the winter transfer window. He needs to make use of this entire squad, the old players and the new players, right? He needs to use them, right, and get the best out of them to deliver the best possible results. There are no more excuses. A manager with a team of less quality than this could possibly be doing better than Potter right now. And he has an embarrassment of riches, if we're being honest. So it's not good enough anymore to say, oh, we don't have the players that we need yet and all of these things. No, Potter has been given players, right? The owners have spent a lot of money this season. £601 million this season. More than £500 million on this man. So he needs to find a way to get these players to all play together, and he needs to find a way to get the best out of them. That's the last thing that he needs to do to save his job. So, guys, I will see you when I upload again. It could be tomorrow. It might be Friday. We'll see. Goodbye.